That's right, folks. We got another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. Today, we got a special treat. We're going to be doing a live fantasy football draft on today's show. I'm going to discuss pick-by-pick strategy, kind of wrapping up the year to talk a little bit about my top 150, also the My Guys heading into 2023. But I'm excited. This is one of my leagues of record, folks. This is a big money league, so I'm excited to break this down. 10-team league on Sleeper, half PPR, starting right now on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. All right, we're about to get live here at the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be doing a very quick, just live draft, folks. This is exciting stuff today. Obviously, what the key is here, we're going to be doing it's a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, 1 tight end, 10-team, half PPR league on Sleeper. This is like the standard of standard leagues nowadays. It's like the most obvious league that people are in right now, home league stuff. So I'll be drafted from the 6th spot, as you can see on Razzball, as there as well. So obviously, CFC went off the board. That's kind of obvious. Now, the trick of the trade, folks, is always be prepared for your pick. Make sure you fill up that queue with the next picks that you want. So when you get to your pick, you're ready to rock and roll. No hesitation. I like that. So obviously the first 2 picks that go off the board are kind of obvious. We got CMC. Remember, this is a 2 wide receiver start league. So obviously running backs do get a bump in this one. As you can see, Eckler goes at 3. So that's an obvious uptick there. So that's the main difference. If you looked at my top 150, it's a lot of wide receivers, a little bit higher than usual because of the fact that we're looking at 3 receivers. So in this league format, you're probably going to be looking at guys that are more running backs early on. But I'm still looking at guys like Tyreek and Diggs here. Looks like Chase as well. The top 4 is kind of consensus here. I got Hill, and then I also have a Stephon Diggs here. So I'm actually going to go with Diggs at 6, which is actually a surprise because it's not listed that high. There we go. Stephon Diggs at 10. I have him as my 6th overall player. And here's kind of why. So in previous years, so we have a minute 42. We'll talk through the pick here. So after this, obviously Cooper Kupp would have been my pick probably 2 weeks ago. But of course, all the hamstring issues, I moved over to Stephon Diggs at 6. Main reason why is if you just isolate the games the first half of the year with before Josh Allen's injury, this guy was going off like 23 PPR points per game. That would have been better than Justin Jefferson last year. His numbers dipped significantly after that elbow injury from Josh Allen. So I think that the squeaky wheel is going to get the grease, but also really when you break down what they have added and lost this offseason, the Buffalo Bills added Dalton Kincaid, a rookie tight end. I know a lot of people are excited about, but I think you're okay with taking Diggs this high in a draft. So I'm going to go Stephon Diggs here. All right. Obviously, put him in my queue instead. All right, let's talk through the first couple picks here before we get to our next one. Obviously, in this league, you're going to want to get running backs, but I don't reach. I'm just going to stick to my top 150 that you could see on Razzball.com right now. The finale, folks, 7.0. But in this league, where I struggled. Obviously, last year, I didn't make the playoffs in this league specifically. I had a decent roster. Obviously, I lost a lot of guys due to injury throughout the year. James Conner basically almost carried me back into the playoff race, but unfortunately, guys like T. Higgins that were in and out of the lineup I had in my team last year. Justin Fields took over for Trey Lance, who I lost early on. I had so much Trey Lance, lost him so early in the process. So it is what it is. But this is a good league to start off with. I think for me, one thing I'm going to try to do differently this year is I actually put together that top 150. And one thing that I kind of realized was that I want to make sure that I value-based draft based on historical things. Like, understanding historically how many running backs and wide receivers are good should be drafted in the top 24 versus just going running back all the time was key. So that's why I took Diggs this year. I'm okay with starting receiver if it falls that way. So I'm waiting on pick 7, which is probably the Kelsey, Barkley area. So let's just fill up our queue. I think that's key, right? So we have Kelsey. Barkley would be next at 8. Amon-Ra St. Brown is my first surprise. I have him at 9th overall. We'll talk about that in a second. Really, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, the reason why I'm so high on him is because we kind of saw that breakout last year. If you just isolate the games where he played 50% of the snaps, he was averaging over 18 PPR points per game. That would have been better than CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown last year. And I broke this down in my must-have players, my Guys episode with Amon-Ra. I just think that if you factor in the things that are going on with Devontae Adams and CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown, there's an argument to be made that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to demand the most targets amongst those guys. So we got our first times up. AJ Brown goes at 107. All right, well, that's not too bad. AJ is a fine player. That's insanely high. We talked about this on previous shows. If you look at the games where he played with Dallas Goedert, he averaged just south of 17 PPR points per game. So I don't think necessarily he's a first-round pick, but he's fine. He's a solid top 15 player. I still have him really high. So Kelsey's beginning to slip here. Obviously, I only have 3 guys in the queue right now, and Amon-Ra, Tony Pollard. I would really hope Tony Pollard falls here. That would be absolutely amazing. But at this point, it looks like Kelsey's falling because of that knee injury, but I don't expect him to miss extended time. And honestly, I don't know if I want to take him either, personally. It's a 10-team league. I love guys like Waller. I love guys like Andrews a little bit later in drafts anyway. But if he falls to my pick in the second round, which is 15th overall, that's going to be a tough pass. Even with the hyperextended knee, I think I might have to take Kelsey at 15. It is. I don't have any Kelsey this year, so that'd be a nice change of pace a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about Bijan. I think with Bijan Robinson, one of the things why I didn't have him as a first-round pick, but I did have him at 13, so that's kind of – actually, no, I'm sorry. My updated, I had 12 now. Have him at 12th overall, which is a little behind ADP, is that I do view the situation similar to how CMC was rolled out. Remember, CMC came into the NFL. They had Jonathan Stewart. That's same to what Tyler Algier had last year with Bijan coming in with him. So I think there's a very good chance that Tyler Algier gets a lot of work, and I think they use Bijan more like a CMC weapon type. Now, CMC was still a top 10 running back, but if you look at a per-game basis, he was closer to like 14.5 PPR points per game. So I would take Pollard over him. I really would. I think Pollard has crazy upside. I would take him over Nick Chubb as well. So I honestly think I might take, well, we'll see. Obviously, at this point, we're on the turn now. Nick Chubb just went. I have no problem with Nick Chubb, but I think he's getting propped up a little bit because of the Kareem Hunt stuff. And when you look at Kareem Hunt, in 2021, we saw 7 games where Chubb played without Kareem Hunt, and they still use Dearness Johnson. Jerome Ford is a freaking house, by the way. I thought Jerome Ford, when I first heard he's a passing game guy. And I was like, oh, what is this, like a satellite back? The dude is 5'11", 220. He's an absolute monster. And the one thing they talked about him coming out of the draft was that he was very good in pass pro, and he's ready to contribute on passing downs right away. That's a logical fit for what Nick Chubb doesn't want to be doing, pass pro and some passing game work. I think Jerome Ford is going to fill some level of the Kareem Hunt role. Last year, they dialed back Kareem Hunt's role anyway. And Kareem Hunt was even inside the top 30 in carries last year. He wasn't like featured as an RB1 last year. He was featured like, he got like 7.5 carries a game, probably less than that. I think it was like 7.2. I think Jerome Ford can do that. So the reason why Nick Chubb is so good is they keep him fresh. So I think that's another aspect of this whole thing too. So I personally still view Nick Chubb as probably the safest pick in the first 2 rounds. The guy's just great. But Derrick Henry, wow, that's a duo, huh? This is half PPR too, so that's a good reminder. And so Henry and Chubb, that 1-2 punch is going to be lethal. But now we're getting to a serious, weird situation. I don't think Barkley's going to fall. There's Kelsey, okay. Wow, Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Tony Pollard. Like, it's so funny. Like, if Barkley falls here, I got to take him. But all right, Barkley just went. All right, so this is like 2 my guys. Like, this is like the most annoying thing I've ever seen in my life. So now I'm looking at this draft, and I don't have any Tony Pollard this year because of where I've drafted, right? I already got Diggs. I do have Amon-Ra St. Brown 1 spot higher than Pollard in my rankings, right? But my question is, do I want to do a running back wide receiver start? You know what? Stick to your top 150. I mean, Pollard. Oh, man, this is going to be horrible. Oh, man, this is tough. This is tough. It's my 2 favorite end of first round picks both fell to me, so it's unfortunate. It looks like Amon-Ra's ankle is going to be fine. Pollard's dealing with the ankle fracture. I'm just going to go stick to it. It is what it is. Yeah, that was a tough one. I am all in on Pollard as well, so it is what it is. Yeah, let's get to a quick commercial break. This is just me taking a second. All right. Let's get into this. All right, so Pollard's still on the board. Garrett Wilson went. There's Tony Pollard. Yes, Chase Pollard duo. Man, I'm just like, I don't even know if I like myself right now. Like Chase Pollard? Really? Chase Pollard? Great start for Peter. I like that. All right, let's fill up the queue now. Obviously, we've seen CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown gone. Adams. My next guy the guy that I didn't even realize I was really high on until the process started was Jalen Waddle. I have him pretty much in every one of my drafts so far. He's been kind of like my first round flag plant. I mean my mid second round flag plant. You just look at the numbers between Tua and without Tua last year. He was absolutely dominant with Tua, averaging over 17 PPR points per game. He was right there with CeeDee Lamb and AJ Brown. And then when Tua went out, he was under 10 PPR points per game. Now I know Tua is a risk, but if you look at Mike White, the backup, now I think Mike White, he'll sling it. The guy averaged almost 300 yards per game last year in the 4 games he played. So there's a shot that he could keep Waddle more afloat if Tua misses a few games this year. So I do like that. The next guy that I'm probably going to put on my list, obviously, after Waddle, is Olave. He's another guy I have a lot of this year who just went. So never mind. Olave is another player I like a lot in fantasy football. I talk a little bit about Olave in past where he essentially the best thing about Olave's upside is there goes Waddle. All right, folks. I got to focus on the queue right now. Let's see. Waddle's gone. Chubb, Wilson, Olave, Josh Jacobs. Slip it a little bit here so we can put Josh Jacobs. I have a feeling that. Oh, wait. Did Jacobs go? Yeah, he did. Wow. Clown world. I guess the question is now Cooper Kupp might be out for a while. Mark Andrews is probably on my list here. I might get a shot at Andrews this year. I mean, I got so much Waller right now because I've been drafting him a lot. I haven't gotten a lot of Andrews. I do have him in one league. I think I might want to take Rhamondre Stevenson if he falls. Might be more. Mixon is gone as well. Kupp, T. Higgins. Yeah, Higgins is there. Yeah, I got to pass on Kupp, I think, for a little bit. I don't think I'm too excited. I don't know if I want to go full zero RB. I've never really been the zero RB guy before. I've been just kind of like let the draft fall. But if Stevenson's there, I might take him because I do think I want to have one running back in the first 3 rounds because after that, Mark Andrews has made it easy. All right. Well, hopefully Stevenson makes it in the next 2 picks. If he goes, there's Kupp. All right, we got one more pick. Come on, Rhamondre. Oh, he's got 2 running backs. 2 wide receivers. He's probably going to take Stevenson. There's Najee's there. Travis Etienne. Come on. You don't want to take Rhamondre. Don't do it. You SOB. Come on. Yeah, so basically, here's my thought process with Stevenson. I know that Elliott could probably take goal line work, but listen, Elliott could fill the same exact role that he did with the Cowboys to a certain extent. And Tony Pollard was an RB1 last year with him alongside. The only problem with that thought is that Elliott was the incumbent starter. Stevenson's the incumbent starter. Steven's probably going to get more work on the ground than Tony Pollard did. He'll be the 1A on the ground with Zeke getting short area stuff. All right, Rhamondre. Okay, cool. So we got Stevenson here. That's pretty solid. I think that's like the best. That was ideal. I think Stevenson's probably still a top 12 guy. We talked about the stuff with Damian Harris without Damian Harris, but I think Elliott being there did knock him down to the end of the top 12. But got to remember, Harris was the incumbent. So last year, looking at the Harris games, he was getting the work. Harris was getting the early down work for the most part. And then when he got hurt, that's what Stevenson really took off. And then he also made it more of a timeshare later in the year. It was Harris's backfield early on, especially on early down. So I think that Stevenson is a rock solid RB1. All right, let's get the queue filled here. So as of right now, it looks like only player left in my top 24 is no one. So they're all gone. Then it goes Mixon, Kupp is gone. T. Higgins just went. So it's Keenan Allen if he falls. Calvin Ridley if he's there as well. Looks like I have a lot of wide receivers propped up here. And also, Kenny Walker. Kenny. Oh, I got so much Kenny Walker this year. Kenny Walker is like, just to justify it. So Walker has been one of those guys where I think people are scared off by the Zach Charbonnet. But just look at Pete Carroll in the past. Pete Carroll drafted Rashad Penny in the first round, folks. And they gave Chris Carson 240 carries that year. I think what they really want is a foundational runner. They want a guy who's going to be a 3-down back so they can get into the flow of the game. They don't want to mix and match as much, right? And then when that guy gets hurt, they want another guy to come in and fill that role. We saw that with Kenneth Walker last year. He was behind Rashad Penny. Penny gets hurt. Walker goes off. And also, you got to remember, Penny and Travis Homer left in free agency this year. So the Seahawks did have a need behind Kenneth Walker for a running back. So I just decided I'm all in on Walker. I think he was explosive. The guy was compared to LaDainian Tomlinson coming out. It's like, what are we talking about here? So I think all that being said with the situation, that's why I have a lot of Kenny Walker right now. But we'll see. I mean, we have 5 picks to go. I got Allen in there. I mean, Debo. All right. Kyle Pitts. Wow. 3rd tight end off the board. That is wild. All right. I see you. I see you, Bagel Boy. I mean, hey, to each its own. I have Kyle Pitts at tight end 8 in my 90s. I just personally don't see. And listen, when you look at the games where he actually, like the Falcons barely threw the ball last year. They did throw more with Desmond Ridder. They averaged at least 26 pass attempts per game under Ridder. If you just look at the games where Kyle Pitts actually saw the team through 26 times, he did have a decent target share. So that's something. But if you give him his career catch rate, yards per target, all that stuff, mix it all together, and you give it to Kyle Pitts with those targets, he was about 10.2 PPR points per game. That's like top 10 tight end numbers. It's not anything higher than that, though. So that's, man, I know Kenny Walker this time. All right, I'm going to go Keenan Allen. I'm sticking to the ranks. I'm going to go Keenan Allen here. Now, with Allen, we've talked about this in the past. I just think that he came back, by the way. When he came back last season, he was the wide receiver 2 in fantasy, averaging over 19 PPR points per game. Like, he was going off the second half of the year last year. And so I think when you obviously logically, you think Kellen Moore's there now and you think all this change is going to happen. Like, he's going to be the CeeDee Lamb. Like, Kellen Moore is going to obviously use Keenan Allen like he used CeeDee Lamb, who just produced huge numbers in this offense, similar to what Keenan Allen can do. Now you factor in a little bit of the age concerns. There's about a 9 to 10% drop off in production once you get to a certain age, like 31, where Keenan Allen's going to be. But where are you adding that 10% dip in production? Is it off 19 PPR points per game? Because he's still going to be better than most wide receivers last year. So I like Allen as a top 10 to 12 wide receiver. That's what I'm taking. All right, we're going to take a quick water break here because I need to not pass out on the stream here. And maybe go to see if there's any chats. Nothing in here yet. But yeah, Josh Allen, first QB. Good for the league, by the way. Only 1 QB in the first 3.5 rounds. Respect the boys. I like that. I like the cojones. All right. Well, I started with 3 wide receivers and 1 running back in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex league. So, ideally here, it would be nice if like a guy like Kenneth Walker fell, but let's get the queue filled. It's important to get the queue filled. You don't want to be scrambling last second here, obviously. So right now I got Ridley and Walker in there as well. Let's see if there's any guys left in my top 36 that I really like. Metcalf is gone. Allen, Hurts. Maybe if a QB start falling a little bit more, Hurts, Patrick Mahomes type players, I doubt they fall, but I would be interested in them in the 5th. If they're there in the 5th round, in that 45 range, that's a pretty good value for quarterbacks. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is the trigger right here. Oh, Kenny Walker. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a little. That's okay, though. All right, Kenny Walker's gone. That's all right. We just keep flowing. Najee went. DJ Moore. Ooh, okay. DJ Moore is available. Let's get him in the queue. Devonta Smith usually goes pretty early. I'm not that high on Smith, but yeah, he went at 310. I talked a little bit about the Devonta Smith situation from last year. I thought one of the weirdest stats that I found was that he went off with Gardner Minshew last year. If you look at the 2 games that he played with Gardner Minshew last year, he averaged 25 PPR points per game. So his numbers are inflated because of the backup quarterback, which is like weird to say, right? Then you factor in the games that he played with Goddard and Jalen Hurts. He would have been the wide receiver 32 in those games, like outside the top 30. It's like absurd. And I know like Smith's a stud and Hurts can improve. And I'm obviously not, I rank him inside my top 20, but I always thought it was interesting that he went off with those guys. So yeah, I don't know what to say there. It's just I think at this point, it's probably looking more and more likely that I'm probably going to take. Look at James Conner. James Conner, for the second time in a row, has gotten some serious love. Yesterday's draft I was in, James Conner got drafted around this range too. I got to tell you, I'm in. I like James Conner. There's guys that I'm higher on. Waller, Matty Love, Giants fans. You got to remember, this is a New Jersey draft. Most of these guys are from New Jersey. All of them, I think, are. So it's like everybody, the Giants get propped up a little. But I'm 3 picks away. Hurts, Mahomes are still on the board. That's interesting. All right. It looks like the likelihood I'll probably be taking a quarterback. I could see myself. I've taken DJ Moore ahead of Fields specifically. Even though Fields is like my favorite quarterback pick this year. Lockett, man. Lockett getting his love is nice. It's nice. I actually have Lockett pretty high too. I have him way ahead of ADP, but not that high. But you know what? JSN, maybe Geno Smith finally. I think Geno Smith's MVP candidate, right? I mean, like at this point, why not? Little Geno, 3 good wide receivers, offensive line should improve. Same coordinator. I can see it. So we're 3 picks away here. Talking quickly about, let's see a couple of the guys that went off the board here. We have James Conner, I just brought up. The one thing I'll say about James Conner's situation, I know that Joshua Dobbs is going to play, and we're not excited about that. But the one thing about Dobbs is that he showed that he could be competent enough with Derrick Henry last year, who Derrick Henry was able to produce. But the thing about Conner I like the most is that he is not impacted by wins or losses. The type of player he is, he's an every down back who can play on third downs and pass pro. In losses, he's going to get passes. He's going to make up for it. So in a PPR, half PPR league, Conner is fine. Like, I think he's a underrated asset. Getting him at 41 is very aggressive, but at the same time, 41? Yeah, it's 41 in a 10-team league. But he's one of the very few backs that is not impacted by the win-loss thing. So totally cool with the pick here. I'm interested to see what happens. So actually, remember, Patrick Mahomes is I'm going to get Jalen Hurts. Holy cow. That's wild. I got Jalen Hurts in the 5th round. This guy is Josh Allen. He's not going to take Jalen Hurts here. So that's huge. This is weird. I don't think I've ever got love about this. Is why you don't trade your picks. Just draft your picks. Trust me, the draft never goes the way you think. If you told me I could get Jalen Hurts in the 5th round in the mid 40s, I mean, all day I would take that. So that's pretty interesting stuff. All right, let's see what's happened here. We got 126 left. This guy already has Josh Allen already on his roster, so I think I'm going to get Jalen Hurts here, which kind of makes things really interesting rest of draft, especially because I am light on running back, unfortunately, which means that I probably can't go up to 150. I'll probably have to hammer running backs there. But Jalen Hurts, welcome to the squad. How you doing? I'm your owner. Your what's it called? Not owner, but like your manager, your head coach, general manager, Bob LaMarco. All right. Hurts, obviously, I think has number 1 upside. If you don't think he does, like if you just look at the games last year when he had Dallas Goedert, he was putting up elite numbers. He was putting up the Allen Mahomes numbers. Now, I think Mahomes obviously is an elite quarterback, and so he's going to be the benchmark for everybody. But it's hard to imagine Mahomes getting better when they keep getting rid of his weapons. It's not like they give him outside of Kelsey, they gave him more invested weapons. Tony's a nice gadget player. Sky Moore, we're hoping he's really good this year. But honestly, they haven't done a lot to replace Tyreek Hill. So Mahomes is still great, but Hurts and Allen are actually my 1-2 this year. So, okay, top 2 quarterback. All right, let's see if we can get. Obviously, I'm not going to take Fields, so he's gone. So DJ Moore is the one guy I would really like to see fall. Unfortunately, that means that I still don't have an RB2 on a team that's a 2 running back wide receiver here. But draft the best players, figure it out later. Pierce went. ETN's gone. Gibbs, of course, is gone. ETN went where? ETN went at 3rd round. Yeah, it's aggressive. And then the guys like Pierce and Akers, who I really like, are gone, unfortunately. Madison would probably be the next running back that I really like. Waller at the tight end position. TJ Hawkinson hasn't gone yet. Interesting. All right. So Hawkinson is falling a little bit here. He's now in the 6th round. That'd be an interesting duo. Amari Cooper is gone. Moore, Cooper, ETN, Waller, Hawkinson, Kamara. That's another guy I can get, probably. Kamara. And I'll talk through some of these guys in a second. Just got to fill the queue, guys. We don't want to be on the clock not having a queue full. That's my number one draft tip. Make sure you fill your queue with the guys you want in order, so you know right when you're on the clock you can make the pick. Breece Hall. It's interesting. Dalvin Cook went super early in this league, 3.9. So that's good for him, man. Obviously, Fields. I love you, Fields. I love you, Fields. Sorry, man. I had to take Hurts. I can't. I'm not going to pretend like Hurts doesn't have a much stable floor and situation. Anyway, DJ Moore is gone. All right, Matt Little. Got it. All right, so we're a couple picks. We're one pick away. Obviously, Hockenson here would be interesting. Obviously, Kamara and then Madison. Hockenson is – I don't have a lot of Hockenson, but at this point in the draft in the 6th round, I think you're getting a decent deal. This is actually something – so the way the drafts really worked out, some interesting guys kind of fell. Yeah, going Hockenson. I don't have a lot of Hockenson this year because he's going a lot earlier than this. So getting him in like the 55 range is pretty good. You know, that's about 13 spots lower than I have him. That's much lower than he is going in ADP, 45, 10 spots lower. So now it's like I got to really worry about the running back situation, especially with the guys I have in the queue now. I mean, are two guys that, if you look at the teams over here, yeah, 2 running backs, 2, 1, 3. So there's going to be some running backs taken, unfortunately. So I don't know if Kamara and Madison get back to me here, but that's okay. It is what it is. Got to have a little fun. Live a little, Bob. Little hero RB action for you. That's what the kids are calling it this day, hero RB, where you got one. That's the RB, 0 RB drafters basically admitting that it doesn't work that well, so they decide to create hero RB, which is essentially their way of saying, yeah, you probably should get a running back early. Sorry, it's a whole thing. Yeah, Jamie's telling me not to take Alexander Madison. Honestly, it's not even early anymore. If I get him in the 7th round, that's like pick 66. And that's much lower than his ADP is at 59. Madison, it's the offense. Like the offense as a whole. And when you look at the games where he got over a certain percentage of the snaps, he's very good. Like, it's hard for a running back to be efficient on 3 carries. Hey, you get 3 carries at the end of the game, and it's the game's over. Dalvin Cook go rest. Madison, we're just going to run you up the middle, end the clock, call it a day. Like, I don't want to judge him on those games. So when you look at the games that Madison played, where he's actually the featured guy, he's very good for fantasy football. So and the other aspect of this too is like we're taking him in round 7 of a 10-team league. So he would be my RB2, unfortunately, the way it shook out, but that's an RB2 when I have Hurts and Hockenson at my tight end quarterback. So, you know, it's a little different story to tell when you have an elite quarterback, and there goes Alexander Madison. He gone. He is out of there. All right. So now it's starting to get thin because I still like Drake London just went. Lockett's gone. Samuel's gone. Jerry Jeudy is another guy that I know he's hurt right now, but we talked about the games last year when he played with Russ. Thanks, Jamie, for your permission. Jamie's on here. Just let me know that it's okay to take him in the 7th round. And honestly, that's nice of you, Jamie. And I appreciate you working with me on this. This is why you're a loyal fan, and that's why I appreciate you, buddy. Obviously, Jamie, feel free to leave a comment, a link to your YouTube channel. Jamie does Go for Two. Really great show. Jamie, feel free to give yourself a shout out in the comments. Give him some love, people. Get over there. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now in the draft. Herbert just went. So it looks like the core quarterbacks are now all gone. So the main guys are gone, the top 7 or 8. I like Daniel Jones. Actually, my hot take for this year is I would take Daniel Jones over Justin Herbert. The rationale behind it is that I think a lot of people are underestimating that Kellen Moore is not as pass heavy as Joe Lombardi. Joe Lombardi was one of the most pass heavy offensive minds. Even when you go back to the days with the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford, they threw a ton. Joe Lombardi is very aggressive throwing the ball. Now, granted, Kellen Moore's play calling style is probably better suited for Justin Herbert. Dang. There goes Alvin Kamara. Whew. Running backs are starting to get thin here, folks. Probably going to have to do D Swift if we get a shot at him here. But that makes sense. I mean, this is the one team that I was worried about because they have the one running back, but we will see. All right, my big board, let's go through it here. Dallas Goedert is probably still available. Man, Goddard falls a lot. I don't understand why. Very solid player. Brees Hall's gone. Swift would be the next guy up, probably in my list here. So I think Swift. Yeah, man, I didn't realize. It's funny when you're drafting off this. I probably should have realized that this is for a 3 receiver. But at the same time, honestly, I get the guys you like, and you'll be fine. I'm not going to stress about it. Different philosophy here. But I probably will have to take Swift here if he falls over Judy, because I do need to lock in that second RB. Granted, also too, at this point in the draft, it's pretty late. So almost getting out of that dead zone. I mean, it is kind of the dead zone. But remember, running backs are getting pushed down a little more this year in most leagues. This league, it did not happen. But all right, let's see. We got Kirk, Sanders, Swift, Hopkins. Where'd he go? Hopkins went B-Hop. Let's see. He went in 4th round. Jeez, it's crazy how different people view players. It's crazy stuff. All right, Godwin, Christopher, you're still available. Good for you, buddy. Welcome to the queue. How you doing? Isaiah Pacheco. That's a fun one. I like Pacheco a lot. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Dobbins is definitely gone. He just went, so he gone. George Pickens. George, I don't have any George. That doesn't make sense. I've been promoting him all offseason long. Got him 10 spots higher than ADP. Got none of them. Pacheco gone. There you go. Running backs start to fly, folks. Yeah. Terry McLaurin. Yeah, the McLaurin stuff is interesting because I don't think people are factoring that Sam Howell is going to be mobile too. So I think that's interesting that people are still aggressively taking McLaurin, now dealing with the injury. Dotson's there. They gave Curtis Samuel like 130 touches last year, which is absurd, by the way. Go look it up. I honestly couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, yeah, he probably got like 100, like 75 touches last year. 130. So Samuel is involved. Logan Thomas is getting a lot of hype, especially now that he's healthy. Gibson in the backfield. If you just look at the seasons with Alex Smith, like when Alex Smith was the quarterback with Eric Bieniemy, like I think Alex Smith is a good comp for Sam Howell. I think it's an amazing comp actually for Sam Howell. Those teams average 17 game pace of 3,900 yards. If you give them 25% of that, you're looking at about a 900-yard pace. That's okay. They'll be like a high wide receiver 3-ish, which is fine where you're drafting him. But McLaurin's like a rankings guy. Get him a little bit higher in your rank. He's probably going to finish solid, but I just don't think on a per-game basis he's going to give you the difference-making upside. But yeah, all right. All receivers. As you can see how the draft's kind of panned out. I obviously could take a bunch of lottery tickets later, but I think Judy, there's Goddard off the board. All right. I think it's close enough to Swift and Judy. I do have Judy like pretty high at 51. Do I take team need? Maybe Judy falls. Swift is a little bit higher here. Judy is all the way down. Where did Judy fall? His ADP 76? Wow. He might fall in the next round. Let's give it a shot. Let's play the ADP game. I feel like it's like a showdown. Come on down. Play the ADP game. All right. Anyway, so you're going to notice that people in this league are going to start taking all their tight ends now ahead of this. They want to get in the game. So it looks like a lot of teams. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 have a quarterback, and roughly the same number have a tight end. So the core guys are gone at those positions. So Ingram, 7.7. If you look at the board here, you probably had to think, if you thought that Delana here on the far right would take a Ingram, then yeah, you take him here. But you're probably knowing that Kelsey and Pitts are to the right of you on the screen, as you can see right here. You probably could have waited around, take another, wide receiver here, maybe take a Judy, Kirk, Godwin, Pickens, and then gamble on the tight end falling, because there's only one team that potentially takes a tight end here. So, and there's Kittle's on the board, right? So Kittle, even if you're not into Kittle protects you from that Evan Ingram pick. So play the game, play the draft board game. Make sure you understand who has what positions, because you might be able to get more value by waiting a round or two. All right. So we got 4 guys in the queue. Let's talk. Chris Godwin, you gone. All right. 3 guys in the queue, heading around the corner here. Ayuk is probably gone. I know. Oh, no, he's still there. All right, let's get Ayuk in the queue. Brandon. I've risen up Brandon a little bit. I was a little bit too low on him previously, but, I had my reasons, okay? I just think the Brock Purdy thing is a little, you know, I Purdy was good last year, but like in the 5 games, including the playoffs, that Brock Purdy played last year with Debo, CMC, Kittle, and Ayuk averaged under 10 PPR points per game. Like, so I think the problem is CMC, when you look at historical stats for the 49ers, CMC is so much different than Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, because he demands targets. Not only does he get targets, but he demands targets. So, it's just like when you're looking at that, it's a trickle down effect because now Debo's losing a little bit of running game work because Elijah Mitchell's now the RB2 and CMC is getting the work in the red zone. But then he gets more work in the receiving game because of that, which kicks down to Ayuk. And I just was always a little bit behind ADP on these guys because I'm like, there's just too many, not just good talent, like some of the best talent in football on one roster with a 7th round rookie. And I know Brock's good, and I'm excited for Brock, but it's a lot to ask of a kid to keep 4 guys fantasy relevant. I just don't see it, but that's okay. I bumped him up closer to his ADP, so he's on the list. He made the list, okay? So obviously he's got a shot here, but still got a lot of receivers here. But I did throw in Rachaad White and James Cook. I don't know if I'll take them over these guys. I like these receivers too much, and I really like Pickens. I don't have any Pickens really, which makes no sense. He was like my guy. So, and the reason why is just mostly, Judy's gone. Daniel's listening out there. This is a huge risk I'm pulling, right? Jaylen Warren in the 8th round. Look at that, folks. The hype is here. Big old boy takes him in the 8th round. Jaylen Warren with the Tony. If Jaylen Warren ends up being like Tony Pollard, he just stole the draft anyway. But all right. So now it really comes down to preference here. I got Christian Kirk and Pickens at the top of my list. I do have Kirk a little bit higher than I have Pickens. But now this is a bench stash. Do I just stick to the ADP? I'm really a big fan of, I want Pickens. I want some Pickens in my life, but no, stick to your ADP. Stick to your rankings, Bob. Christian Kirk. That's fine. It is what it is. Christian Kirk. So if you just look at the Calvin Ridley situation comes in, I know that that's kind of scared a little people, and that's why he's fallen after a very strong season last year to the 8th round. But if you're just looking at Christian Kirk's ability to have a number 2 behind Calvin Ridley, just look at Doug Peterson's history with his passing attempts. Last year was the first year of Trevor Lawrence. They were very conservative with their passing game. So if you look at historical stats, there is a chance that Doug Peterson throws a little more this year. So factoring that in, I actually did. If you guys go check it out on Razzball.com, I do this thing called the opportunity analysis where it looks at every play caller's historical dropback rates. Okay. And what that means is I just basically by play caller, Doug Peterson historically was more aggressive in pass volume. So you factor that in, and then you also factor in Marvin Jones is gone, and you kind of lump those together. There's a scenario where Calvin Ridley can get 130 targets without even impacting Christian Kirk. So I think Ridley's better. I think he's going to get more volume. I have him way higher, of course, but I think there's a scenario where Kirk can basically get his 130 targets again, and the offense just gets better. I think Trevor Lawrence takes another step, and then it's not even impacting a guy like Kirk. So I'm still high on him. It's 8th round, folks. Maybe there's a small chance that Pickens falls, but what you'll notice in these leagues is that, so like if a team doesn't have a tight end, and notice these major, like these home leagues, they don't have like a tight end quarterback like this team over here on the left pause, like he'll probably take one of those positions, even though the smart thing here would be, unless you feel like I would take Daniel Jones. That's what I would do here. I would take Daniel Jones if he falls, because they know actually these two teams right here next to each other. If he's smart, I would take Daniel Jones here. Make sure he's take because he knows this team right here needs a quarterback. So that's the strategy. Take the quarterback here because this is the only other team left that doesn't. And then after that, if you look to your right, everybody else, tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end. There's only one other team on the right. So if you like two other tight ends, like for example, let's just get this off here. Kittle's still up there, which is, I think at this point, I would take Kittle. Like, it's insane. But let's say you're not really into Kittle and you like Njoku, you could just wait. Because if Kittle's going to fall, and also Njoku. But I could also see one of these guys taking Kittle as a second tight end. Neither here or there. That's an interesting pick. Dotson, I would have taken Daniel Jones because I think he's the other quarterback separator. But like if you, for example, feel that you like two quarterbacks, let's say you like Watson and Prescott, then man, Daniel Jones is so far down. Wild. Daniel Jones. Hey, I like and George Kittle. Oh shit. I told you. I knew that was gonna go down. That's good. But I mean, talk about value, man. He loaded up McCaffrey, Mixon, Waddle, Cooper, James Conner, Dobbins. And then he gets Mike Williams. And now his quarterback tight end duo is Jones and Kittle. Dang, that's good drafting right there. Impressive. I'm impressed. That's good shit. But yeah, this team didn't even take his quarterback. He doesn't really have to now. He's the last one available. At that point, I would have, if you were really into Daniel Jones or your quarterback there, that was risky. But now he just waits because everybody else has a quarterback. There probably won't be a lot. Maybe one team might take a second quarterback here. We'll see. All right, let's get this queue filled up here. I wonder if Mike Evans is still floating out there. No, Mike Evans. Oh, no, sorry, we're on all. Yeah, Mike Evans is still available. Oh, wow. How weird is that? I'm like a prophet. Look at that. I just called it. Mike Evans gone. Let's see. Rashad White, Mike Evans, Deontay's gone. Khalil Herbert, Gabe Davis, Rashad White. I'm hoping James Cook falls one more pick. I actually have him 74th, so this would be pretty good value. And plus, I would like to have a third running back here. And so this would be nice. But if he doesn't go, then we just take Gabe and we're good to go. We're having a good time. We're partying. Let's see. We got a couple things going on here. Last second. Yeah, top 12. Yeah, Jamie, feel free to just start giving out some stats. I like that. Jamie's in the comments. People, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think of the draft so far to give you a hey, Demont. Jamie, look at you, you little prophet here. I like that. Demont. Jamie bring that up earlier. Demont's a great late round running back. Hey, listen, obviously the role last year vacated by Jamal Williams is big time. But if you just look at historical, so I looked at this previously and I discussed this, was when there was a unprecedented amount carries inside the 5 for the Lions last year. They were in the 30s, right? That's rare, by the way. Teams typically don't get that many carries inside the 5. Historically speaking, they lose about 15 carries inside the 5 the next year on average. So if you just apply David Montgomery's career conversion rate to that reduced number of carries inside the 5, he's still at like 11 touchdowns. It's still awesome, by the way, 11 touchdowns. But if you lose 6 touchdowns off of Jamal Williams stats last year, he's like an RB3. So that's why I kind of view him pretty good. But I like James Cook. I got him. This is pretty nice. Take it, James Cook. All right. Yeah, I mean, really for me with Cook, I typically don't get a lot of him. People get more aggressive, but for some reason in this draft he fell. This is the ambiguous backfield stuff. JJ Zachariason brought this up years ago, talked a little bit about that, and I shot that out. But this is the part where he's tied to an elite offense. He might not get goal line work, but at the same time, it's a shot worth taking in the 9th round when, in theory, he's the 1A of this offense. He's the incumbent now, which I think is always key. He's not going to get a lot of passing game work. Josh Allen does not throw to his running backs, but I don't know, 15 touches a game on the Bills offense. Okay, I'm not. I don't reach for Cook. This is the first draft I got, so that's kind of nice. Maybe we double up with some stacks for the Buffalo Bills with Gabe Davis. But yeah, let's see what we got here. We're starting to get some of the late round guys now because a lot of guys took running backs early. So we're starting to see guys take their tight ends and their quarterbacks now and some receivers. But running backs are still starting to slow down a little bit. Everybody knows my feelings on the Herbert, the Gibson and Robinson situation. I got Brian Robinson way ahead of Gibson. You just look at Eric Bieniemy. He's a former running backs coach, and so if you look at it historically, I know everyone's talking about the passing game stuff. Like McKinnon was awesome last year, but prior to McKinnon, can you name another Chiefs passing game back that was fantasy relevant? Like solely passing game back. I'm not talking Kareem Hunt workhorse. I'm not talking Jamal Charles workhorse. There isn't one. Like Charcandrick West is like the guy that comes to mind. It was a nice season. He had 9 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns last year. Like that role is not typically good for fantasy. So I don't know. Call me crazy. Brian Robinson, by the way, if you just look at the second half of last season, all the efficiency metrics lean Robinson. Robinson's an elite player, by the way. He's very good. I'm in. I like Robinson a lot. I hope he falls here. I will take him all day as my RB4. Probably take Gabe Davis ahead of him, as you can tell by the queue. Stick to the queue. It's fine. So we got a pretty nice start here. Let's talk about the team. I got Diggs. Amon-Ra St. Brown and my 2 wide receivers to start. Ramaje is my RB1 in round 3. Keenan Allen is my flex guy in round 4. Then I got Hurts Hockenson in 5-6. I think that's really good value at that stage. So I'm pretty in on that. Then DeAndre Swift in round 7. I call it a gut shot feeling here. I just think that if you watch our show, you know I bring stats. I don't like to just assume things. But sometimes you have to go with the gut a little bit. I've had a gut feeling about DeAndre Swift, mostly because of their head coach, Nick Sirianni. Sirianni unleashed Miles Sanders. If you look at Miles Sanders' career before Nick Sirianni got there, he finally let Miles Sanders be Miles Sanders, and that's why he had his best season, right? I just think Nick Sirianni's the type of coach that he just puts his best players out there. He's like, just go ball. He just has that vibe. I think he's going to let Swift do his thing. I think Penny and Gainwell will have their roles, but Swift's going to be the guy. I don't think he's passing game. I think they're just going to let him run, do his thing. He's going to be the RB1 in this offense behind an elite offensive line again. He was a top 20 back as a part-time player on a team that hated him last year. They hated him. The Lions did not like him last year, and he was a top 20 running back. This guy is so talented. I think he was top 5 in points per opportunity last year. I don't know. Maybe it's because I got him on my team. It is what it is. All right. Let's chat here. We got some here. Yeah, Jamie, I get this too. And this is a good comment here about the Swift Jamal Williams combined for the highest points for running back position. I get it, but like Jamal Williams had 17 rushing touchdowns last year. He had 30 plus carries inside the 5. That's not going to happen. It's just, I think realistically, Montgomery can get you 11 touchdowns, right? But if you just take 6 touchdowns off of Jamal Williams' stats last year, he loses almost 2 fantasy points a game. He falls back into the RB3 numbers. So I get it. I like the offense. I like the fact that Jameson Williams is not around for the first 6 weeks. So their wide receiver 2 is your guess as good as mine. If you wanted to take a shot on Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, I will not be doing that. And you got a rookie quarter. Oh my God, you took Brian Robinson. Damn you, Justin. Damn you. God. All right. Well, this is why you set the queue. Man, I really like. I think I deep down wanted Brian Robinson there. Getting sniped live on TV or YouTube. Anyway, Gabe Davis, whatever. A lot of Bills. I'm okay with that. Messing around with some Bills. All right. Let's get that queue filled up. Remember, hashtag always fill the queue. Treylon Burks, probably one of my favorite sleepers this year. Honestly, we talked about it a million times with Treylon Burks. If you just look at Tim Kelly, by the way, the new OC, is implementing his style of offense, might lean a little more towards the pass, just a little bit. Obviously, Derrick Henry is always going to be your centerpiece, so it's whatever. But if you just look at the last time he was with DeAndre Hopkins, they were together in Houston in 2019. This is prime DeAndre Hopkins. They had a number 2 wide receiver named Will Fuller. I know a lot of us remember Will Fuller. That season in 2019, he averaged 7.5 targets per game in the games where he was healthy. So there is room for a second option. Now, I know you could say Deshaun Watson's a lot better than Ryan Tannehill. It is what it is. You're probably right. But if Burks is getting you 7 to 7.5 targets a game, I think he's going to crush his 100 ADP. This guy's a first round pick. And by the way, he looked the part before his injury. So I do have a lot of receivers already and not as many running backs. I do have 3 running backs on my team right now. So I got to start getting those running backs in. But it's hard to pass up on some of this wide receiver talent. But let's see what we got here. After Burks, it was Addison. He's gone. Sutton is another player that's probably available. Like him a lot this year, especially with the Judy injury. I do think Sutton is going underrated now. JT. Has anybody taken Jonathan Taylor? Oh, he did go. Where did Jonathan Taylor go? Wonder how is the world thinking of JT? I don't know. Someone brought up the Le'Veon Bell vibe thing. I don't blame you for saying that. That's definitely a possibility. Le'Veon Bell, total sit out. Montgomery, I think Mostert might be the guy I need. Raheem Mostert, my favorite late round running back. So weird how that happened throughout the process. Mostert looked good in the preseason. Jeff Wilson's on IR. Devin Achane's been dealing with an injury. He's a rookie. Nobody traded for him yet, right? So nobody traded to the Dolphins yet. So I might have to take Mostert here based on roster build a little bit. The good news is I have 2 studs at the tight end tight end quarterback situation, so I don't even have to worry about that position anymore. So I could look at Perine too. When we talked to SixScore.com, Taylor jumped on with us. That was pretty nice of him. We talked a little bit about Perine and Javonte. Javonte Williams is going to have to deal with Mostert. Oh, come on. Dang you. Oh, that's awful. 11th round. How dare I? Take Bigsby. Running backs are going off the board, man. I can't believe I might have to pass on Burks for Perine, which is just awful. I don't want to do that. But so anyway, we talked a little bit with Taylor from SixScore.com. All right, this is me just ranting during my draft. Anyway, we talked about this for a bit. Javonte, the multi-ligament knee injury, it's nice to see that, he could. Oh my God, what a disaster. Samaje, Perine, he gone. I think this might be a Jamal Williams situation here. Yeah, I got Williams only a handful. I mean, Burks I have a lot higher. I have Burks at 81, Williams at 93. Man. But I think I got to take Williams here just because the way the draft's gone so far. A lot of running backs are going. Maybe Burks falls. All right, let's do it. Let's take J. Will. Actually, the ADP game. We're going to play the ADP game. We lost. Did we lose last time? We lost last time, right? Yeah, we did lose. We took Kirk instead of Pickens, and we lost. So, all right. Well, we're going to take J. Will. Obviously, Jamal Williams' season-long outlook's probably not as amazing because of I know a lot of people might compare it to there is a small chance that Jamal Williams could be the Mark Ingram to Alvin Kamara. The only issue with that is that there's a lot more talent on that roster now with Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, and Jawan Johnson. So the 2017 era was like just post Jimmy Graham, and that team only had Michael Thomas. It was Michael Thomas and then Alvin Kamara and then nobody. It was like Ted Ginn was just out there running deep routes all the time. So I don't know if I believe that there could be a Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, but at least we know the offense has a shot. And because of the way my roster kind of filled out, I might have the confidence to start Jamal Williams early in the season because of everything. Because Kendra Miller has been banged up, and then also factor in that Kamara is suspended. Yeah, I think that's that. Anybody any questions? We got a couple people live right now. You guys got any questions right now? Obviously, we're talking through a lot of this draft stuff, just kind of filling the time. Dynasty Diehards got the night off. Mentally prepping for a long season. I decided to jump on for an hour and talk to you guys through this is my last, actually, no, I have a draft at 7, but that's just, that's not a paid league. That's something I'm doing off. This is my last paid draft. So We're getting to the last one. Let's see if we get Pickens. Obviously, I just want to talk quickly about my kicker primer, by the way. I got a couple exciting announcements before I close out the show. First off, Sunday Live, Start Sit Show, starting this Sunday. We will be there 3 hours starting at, wow, the first defense. Matt Little, you crazy dog, 11th round. Sunday Live Start Sit Show. Make sure you join us live every Sunday. We'll be on 3 hours before kickoff, guys. Really exciting. We're going to be breaking down start sit questions that you have for us live on there. Also, we're excited to announce that we are monetized. We're also going to be partnering with Good Sports, which is a charity that helps donate sporting equipment to underprivileged communities to help kids play sports. So 10% of all the money we make from the show will go to them. So we're excited to announce that partnership again this year. So please become a super chatter, donate, be there, be excited. We're a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing a lot of banter. It's 7 a.m. to kickoff PST. We'll be on for 3 hours before kickoff. Also, we do weather updates, injury updates, starts, streamers, you name it, we got it. One of the things I'm excited about is my kicker primer. Last year, shout out to me, by the way. I finished 7th in Fantasy Pros kicker accuracy rankings last year for drafts. I thought that was pretty impressive. That was pretty good. I'm pretty happy about it. I just wrote up a kicker primer. Super excited. I'll be drafting a kicker late here. 3 guys. The one guy I like the most as a sleeper kicker this year. You just saw Justin Tucker go, okay? Jason Myers, kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. One of my favorite kickers to get this season. Really excited about him. The Dallas Cowboy, Aubrey. Dallas Cowboys' new kicker. By the way, Brett Maher last year was the K3 in fantasy football. This season, he got replaced by a rookie named Aubrey. Go get him. He's got the Giants in week 1. Those games are always high scoring. I love him as a sleeper. Then the new San Francisco kicker, Moody. He's a 3rd-round pick. They actually let Robbie Gould go. He did get banged up this preseason, but it sounds like he should be getting week 1. I like him as well. Love him. Those are some of my favorite guys, but my kicker primer's coming out. Follow us all season long. You know you love, deep down, you don't want to pretend it's true, but you love kickers. They're super awesome. So excited about all that. All right. Now that we know the Sunday Live Start Shit Show is kicking off, yeah, so Jamie gets it. Jamie will be there. Jamie, just come along, man. We're going to have a good time. Gladys, Derek, Matt, Sky, me, 3 hours, kickoff. Nah, it's just complete madness. So it's going to be a good time. All right. I love how Sleeper gives you all the notifications during the draft. And by the way, during slow drafts, it's nice, but in real draft, I have like 100 notifications from this draft because I have not looked at my phone yet. So we got to fill the queue. Hashtag always fill up the queue. Maybe Treylon Burks falls. Does the ADP game work this time? Do I get a shot at getting one of my favorite late round guys in round 12? Let's see what else we got here. Some defenses are going off the board here. This is a home league, folks. This is where I'm talking about. Could get some serious value. If we get Treylon Burks here, that's what it's all about. That's why I play fantasy football. Sky Moore available. He's my next guy that I'd probably want there. Brandon Cooks, I believe, is gone. He gone. Yeah, he went. Where'd Brandon go? Oh, he went 2 rounds ago. Good value. Good value. Let's see. Zay Flowers, he gone. I have no Zay Flowers. I was probably too low on Zay Flowers. That's on me. I probably should have had him a little higher in the rankings. I did have him at 95, which is right at his ADP. But I would have liked to got some Zay Flowers this year. Did I get him in my draft? Yes, I did get him in my dynasty. Oh, we are winners. All right. We got Treylon Burks. That's how you play the ADP game, folks. Welcome. Come on down. You are the winner of Treylon Burks. This is why you play that game, folks. That's awesome, man. So I got both the guys in my queue from last round. Treylon Burks. Just broke him down before. Exciting stuff. All right. I'm going to sign off, finish up this draft, guys. So thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Make sure you go over to the Razzball. Oh, streamer defense. Jamie, I love this, man. I love this. Great stuff. By the way, so first off, I would say one of my favorite streamer defenses is the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are going to face off against that Arizona Cardinals defense in week 1. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that. I also like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do know Anthony Richardson. That week 1 game against Richardson is going to be interesting. If you watch the preseason, Richardson's got all the talent, but he's going to make mistakes early. And so I think there's a shot that the Jaguars can really put pressure on him. They could create turnovers. So I do think that they're being overlooked right now. So I like the Jags. I like the Commanders. And my third one's the Falcons. The Falcons have an underrated team defensively. They've added some weapons as well on the defensive side. I They have the Panthers in week 1. So the Panthers are dealing with injuries at the receiving core. Thielen's banged up. He's limited, probably will play. Chark is out right now. But those guys are going to be at least a little banked up playing against Bryce Young, a rookie quarterback. So I do like those options if you're waiting on defense. It's obviously the stud ones like the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Patriots, the Bills are solid options too. But if you do wait, Commanders, Jaguars, Falcons are my 3 picks there. All right. Oh, the Raiders. Who the Raiders got week 1, JB? You're throwing out things here, and you got to tell us who they're facing week 1. Raiders are facing schedule. Let's see what we got here. Broncos. All right. Throw the Broncos in there. I like that, Jamie. Good call out. Broncos. Let's see. Sean Payton. Who did he peg for his DC? Who was the DC now? Off the top of my head, I do have that info. They got a new DC. I don't remember who it is. But anyway, we'll go back to it. Make sure you guys join us again. I will be back on Friday. We're doing our first matchup preview for the slot first wide. By the way, we're super excited to announce we're rolling out the slot first wide data again this year. If you don't know what that is, we do fantasy points allowed to wide receivers in the slot versus out wide. This gives you a different edge versus what you'll get anywhere else. It's free. It's on the Razzball.com. We do our Friday show. We're going to do matchup previews for slot versus wide. We're also going to have the fantasy points for each player on Razzball.com as well. So you're going to see where they get their fantasy points and tie it to that chart. It's a lot of fun. Good stuff. Packers DST from Patricio. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Vance Joseph. Yeah, good call out. Yeah, he's pretty solid. Packers got who? I think the Packers are going to be one of those defenses that you're going to just stream potentially in good matchups. And who do they got week 1 is going to be my question. Bears. Yeah, I'm a Justin Fields guy, so I don't know if I'm going to be attacking him in fantasy. I like I said, I think I would go streamer. If you don't get one of the big guys, I think I always stream kickers and defenses anyway. I love that piece. It's Spanish. Thank you, man. I appreciate you helping me out. That's awesome. I like it. I love the name. It's good stuff. Obviously, as me being a ginger, I'll work on it. I don't even have a queue open because I'm busy talking to you guys and I'm up in a pick. This is why you always fill the queue, people. Probably Michael Thomas is probably going to be my pick here if he's available. No, he is gone. Is Nico available? Nico is gone as well. Is he gone? Where did Nico Collins go? Oh, there's Nico. Hey, Nico. Yeah. Is there any running backs I really like here? Odell's gone. JSN is gone. Sorry, guys. You got to stick with me. I was going to end the show, but now my pick, so now I got to figure out the last second what's going on here. I think Nico's probably going to be the pick. I'm just trying to think, is there a late round running back that I'm not thinking about that I would like to pull the trigger on here? I don't really have anybody. Gibson's gone. Gainwell, maybe? Do I put? No, I could probably wait on Gainwell. McKinnon. Yeah, I could probably wait on Gainwell. How many more rounds we got? 4? All right. I usually don't draft kickers and defenses either because I like to stash people. By the way, this league has IR spots. Always a great practice. If you are in a league with IR spots before the draft, the last pick in your draft, make sure it's IR eligible. Like Jeff Wilson, Kyler Murray. Oh, Roshan. Jamie, just calm down, all right? I'll draft Roshan, all right? But yeah, I think this is a good tip. If you have an IR spot, use your last pick on a player eligible. Right when the draft's over, you could put that player in your IR and you could pick up another player. So Jeff comes to mind. Kyler Murray comes to mind. So those are always good options there. I think I got to go Nico. Yeah, I don't really feel like there's any. I know Roshan, we're calling that. Algier and Mitchell went early. That's wild. Bigsby went early. Dylan's gone. Zach Cabernet. Warren's gone. Devin Achane. Damian Harris. Gus Edwards. I'm not going to reach for those guys. I guess I just got to take Nico. Got Zeke. I do have ETA. I mean, I do have Ramaje Stevenson. Do I think about taking Zeke? Or Devin Achane? I took Zeke. Why not? 13th round. Slight handcuff. A little bit, I guess. All right. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I don't really love it, but at the same time, I need to be more conscious of my running back depth here, especially because I got so much value at receiver early. Gabe Davis. Maybe Nico falls. Oh, Chain went right after that. Yeah, Chain was up there too. All right. I'm on live. Hey, guys, just hanging out with me. All right. Listen, guys, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining. This was a lot of fun. Obviously, I appreciate you guys jumping on with me today and doing the draft. Obviously, this was just like a league of record fantasy football draft. A lot of analysis was crammed in here for you, too. Guys, good luck. Enjoy football tomorrow. We are officially football season's back. Make sure you join us live for Sunday Live. We're going to have a lot of fun. Once again, I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. This is the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Make sure you go follow us on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Go check us out on IG and TikTok. And, of course, go over to razzball.com. Thank you for joining once again. We are out of here, folks.